Today's project is a card for Mom for Mother's Day, and this is called an Eclipse card. So as you can see, hopefully you can see there's a little bit of depth here. Oh, well, you can't really see a good side view, but these the word Mom just pops up off the card. And to make today's project, you're going to need the stamp set Happy Birthday Gorgeous, and we're using this smaller floral image and then this image right here. But this is a really fun set. It's got lots of birthdays, and you can use it for not just birthdays, because there's congratulations in here. There's I love you, so you could do Valentine's or anniversary cards. So it's not limited just to birthday. And then I'm using the sentiment, enjoy your special day, from the Dragonfly Dreams. And the colors I'm using today are Crushed Curry, Berry Burst, and Tempting Turquoise. I'm also using the large letters framelits, and of course we're using MOM, but these are the large letter framelits, and then we're also going to use a thick white card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, a piece of Berry Burst layer, and this one is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have a Whisper White layer that is cut at 5 by 3 3/4. So all these dimensions will be on my blog post as well. But to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my letters where I want them. Now, since we're repeating, and I'm also going to make sure I leave enough room up here for my sentiment. So actually I'm going to pull that down about there. And you may have to move these over a little bit. And since we are using or doing a card that uses the same letter twice, I'm going to just place this M on the other side to make sure I have room. And I do, but I think I might want to move this over a little bit. So just take a pencil and very lightly just trace around the edge of this letter. And we can erase this in a moment. And you might not feel the need to do this step. I feel like I need the visual to line everything up, because we're going to be cutting this out in a moment, and I want to make sure that things are lined up and that I have a good idea of where I want my stamping to be. So I have my letters drawn, and now what I'm going to do is I have my stamps already mounted. I'm going to start with this larger one in Berry Burst and Tempting Turquoise. What I do is I want to make sure that I have stamped multiple times towards the lower half of my lettering. And you want it to kind of go off the letters too, because you want it to look natural when things are cut out. But I'll just do maybe one more right there. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Scrubber. I just want to make sure you guys see this really well. This is the wet side. I'm just going to rub this across, and then I'm going to dry it on this side. That gets my ink off. Now you'll see this stamp is stained, but some of the photopolymer stamps will stain, but it is clean. There's no, if I hit there, you see there's no ink. So now I'm going to use Tempting Turquoise, and I'm going to do a little bit with this color, and I'm going to pop a little bit in between. And each card you do like this can look quite different depending upon where you stamp, and it just comes out so cute though. Okay, I have a smaller floral image from this Happy Birthday Gorgeous stamp set, and I'm using Crushed Curry this time. And I want to, in Crushed Curry, stamp some of these flowers. Just, again, randomly. You can go over. Possibilities are endless. Next, I'm going to come back in with the Tempting Turquoise and do a flower here and there. I'm going to finish it off with Berry Burst. I want some down here. I think I'll do one there, one right there, maybe right there. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to clean my stamp off. So the next step is we want to cut out these letters. And to do that, we'll grab the Big Shot. For this step, you have your panel already. And we're going to have to run this through twice because of course we only have one M. But I'm just going to, this is my magnetic plate on the bottom. If you guys aren't aware of what this is, it's a magnetic platform. Then I have my clear plate and then my cardstock, of course. And I am just lining up with the traced mark. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my O. Place it down, get it where I want it. Put my other clear plate on top and run it through the Big Shot. Now popping and cracking is because my plates have some unevenness to it. It's not hurting anything, it's normal, but just so you know what it is. And I'll pull this to this side just to make sure everybody can see really well. So when I pop this up, I have my M, my letter M. And then I have my letter O. Now on the O, you want to make sure that you save this piece. I'll show you why in a moment, but we want to save that. And then I'm going to run it back through and take this last M off. We have our last M here. Okay, so you've got your letters and you've got your stamped piece. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and erase these pencil marks. Also, you're going to need multiple layers of the letters, but to save time and to not bore you on camera, I went ahead and cut out 4 layers of each letter and glued them together. And we're going to do the rest of that so you can see what I'm talking about, so you know how to do it. If you have the Eclipse look, you need to kind of pop it up a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in my layers. I'm going to go ahead and add my Berry Burst layer to my card base. I'm just eyeballing where this, and then I'm going to add this layer. This one, since there are some openings here, just for stability, I'm going to put a little more snail than I typically would. And I'm going to go ahead and now place this on my project as well. Now remember, I told you that you would need to use the inside of this O. So what I would have you do is go ahead and put adhesive on the back. I am going to go ahead and use the stamp side. So all I'm going to do is I've just simply placed this O in here. It's not stamped, it's not adhered in there. It's just laying there as my guide. Then I'm going to place this center piece, the middle one right there, and then I'm going to lift this one back up. So there you have your O. Now, like I said, you're going to need multiple layers of each letter, and I have gone ahead and done that ahead. So now you want to take the ones that we just did that are stamped, and you want to put a little bit of glue. I'm using Tombow Mono Liquid Glue, and my glue is kind of running low, so it doesn't take a lot of glue, but just a little bit here. And I'm going to adhere that to these other layers. And the reason why the liquid glue works best for this step is so that you can kind of maneuver it, manipulate it till it's exactly lined up the way you want it to be. And then we're going to do the last one. This card looks complicated, and there are a number of steps, as you see, but it comes together pretty quickly, and it's a fun card to make. And of course you can use other words. It doesn't have to be mom. You could use hope or love or hello, hi. You could do anything you want, really. The only thing I would tell you is that if you get a card that's got, depending upon what your letters are, if you get more than 4 letters, you're going to have to start thinking about making your card bigger, because it obviously you only have a limited amount of space here. The last step, I believe, well, at least with this, actually, before I go to this, I'm just going to let this dry for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment up here. I have already mounted that stamp, and I'm going to stamp it in Berry Burst. It's okay. I'm going to ink that up, And ignore that I've got a little black mark here on my block I need to clean off, but that wasn't from this project. So now some people would have preferred to have done this first. It's just your preference. But I am just going to be carefully stamp that down. There you go. Okay, so now to adhere these letters, what you want to do is take your mini dimensionals. And this is a product that just came out in last year's annual catalog. It is returning in the new one. So these little tiny dimensionals are really great for projects like this that have small pieces. Now we get to peel all of these off. Now if you don't have fingernails, just take your finger and push in the center. It just helps these little pieces of paper pop up, and then it's going to be easier for you to peel them off. I'll just go ahead and start with the O since I've already peeled it. Now when you go to place this down, of course you want to kind of line up your stamped images, but you also want to offset this just a smidge. I really can't describe it very well. You have to kind of eyeball it, but just a little bit over to the left or right, but just be consistent. I still have a little bit of a pencil mark right there. And then we're going to go ahead and do the letter M here. You can see since I have more of the tempting turquoise that's matching up on this side, this is where this M goes. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it just slightly to the right. And then we'll do the last M. All right, so same thing, this last letter, I'm going to move it just slightly to the right of the opening. And there you have your card, and you can, I don't know if the camera really picks up, I think it might there, the dimension here. It's not a lot, but it just pops it up enough, and this is called the Eclipse technique. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, please give me a thumbs up for the video, and if you haven't already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe and follow me. If you have any questions, let me know, and otherwise, we'll see you next time. Have an incredible day. Thanks for watching.